Okay guys, so got interrupted. The dogs were going crazy, so had to go check. So here we are. I've put some different paints on a canvas that still has the plastic on it. I have some of my brushes aside, and we're going to take this that we made with hot glue, with this mold, and we're going to kind of paint it some and just see how it goes. I don't know how many coats I'm going to have to do. I don't know anything like that. Seems this is probably not the best brush for this. Painting on hot glue doesn't seem to be the world's easiest thing to do. I don't need clumps of colors. Your brush may be a little stiff. Let's see what I've got over here that's not as stiff. Okay. All these little holes are like holding paint. I don't like that. That's not the goal. Anyhow, I'm just going to do a light coat over it real quick, just so I can see all the details, and then decide what parts I want to do, what colors. So I want to make it kind of look antiqued, kind of look faded. I don't know. May not even post this video because I suck at painting and it may take forever. Okay, so the only thing I don't like is how some of the paint is like filling in the gaps. Because they're not going to be as three-dimensional if the paint just dries in there. Which means I may need like a paper towel, or I'm going to try one of these. Just to see if I can dab it in there and get some of the color. It's just taking the color off the top, not inside like I want it to. Which is interesting. But, I mean, you try, you learn. That's about how it works. I don't know if you can see it better now that there's at least a little bit of paint on it. What I'm noticing is the parts deep down I'm probably going to have a brush to get down off in there. This one's kind of firm, so it's just kind of pulling the paint off of it. Well, it's at least pulling all that excess paint out of there. But that's not what I'm looking for. Mixing a little bit of rose gold and black. See if I can figure out how to, if I tap it, maybe if I get down off in the crevices, and then I can paint the top parts. So let's see. Yeah, so that gets in the crevices, so we'll do that, and then we'll paint the top parts after all the crevices dry. So we can do the crevices a different color. That one was black with rose gold, which gave it a dark brown. that's what this specific brush is meant for. But that's what we're using it for, you guys. To try to just get all the little crevices. And I'm just, different colors is pretty much what I'm doing. I'm just going back and forth. Some people will go crazy with this. They'd be like, clean your brush between colors. But we're giving it kind of an antique look when I do the top layer. So it's fine to make it look like the colors blended. I want to get some of that black out of my brush. There's two different colors of gold. I want to make sure we get all these little spaces on the edge here too. And I may do another coat after this coat to lighten it up because there's a lot of black on this coat. But I mainly want to make sure all of the little crevices are filled in so that when I do put the top coat on the top of the pieces, at least the crevices are covered and they won't show up as clear on the piece. Because this is going to embellish a piece of art. I have a couple canvases that I'm looking at right now that I'm thinking of using this for. And I have a couple canvases that I'm thinking about using for the feathers and stuff that I've done as well. So I have some ideals. I haven't fully planned it out. But I do have some ideals running around in my head about different ways to do it and different things I can do. I think having the insides and little crevices darker than what I do on the top will probably be the best case. Just because it'll look more realistic and more aged that way. Because, you know, when people clean up something old, like these, if these were real metal, they would clean the outside and they would have a harder time cleaning the inside. I'm gonna pick it up and just kind of look it over, make sure there's a few spots that need a bit of touch up. I already like it so far. I think it looks pretty good, but it is gonna need another coat over the taller things. After this bottom coat dries, so that I can antique it a little bit better the way I'm thinking in my mind. But I do like it so far. It's coming to life a little more. Okay, so there's the first coat. And we'll let that dry. While that's drying, I'm gonna clean out my brush. And we're gonna do a little bit of work on a couple of the other molds that I used. Let me clean these brushes out real fast. I'm not sticking them in a cup of water to clean them right now because I'm using them. I'm just taking a wet one and cleaning them off. Okay, so we're going to set this one to the side. I'm going to move my molds out of the way. And then we're going to do some feathers. So I have several feathers, several different shapes. I had some that were supposed to be full and I cut down where some of the pieces didn't quite work. I have some that don't have the stems and whatnot. I'm just going to slide that to the side. And I think we're going to do color shift. And I've got a brushed metallic aquamarine, a color shift aqua. I have a metallics blue sapphire, which is kind of almost empty. And then I think with the blue, I'm going to add silver. So I have a Deco Art Dazzling Metallics Shimmering Silver. So I have 4 different brands, or 3 different brands. Let me get... I'm just going to use one of these small ones because it has plastic on it. You'll just have to excuse the dogs, they're going to be loud. I put less of the color shift because I think I'm going to use it more for a top than inside. I think I'll use it like to accent the top coat a little. Because I have a feeling I will have to do a second coat on some of these just to completely cover up the clear part in nature. That Deco Art is a little more fluid than the others. Oop, I just sprinkled paint everywhere. Okay, so start off with, I'm going to start with one that doesn't have the stem, just in case I mess up on it, then you know it's here and it doesn't have a stem, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. And they also do have some really fine lines and crevices. Once I make some of these that are larger, I may go over them with I want to say maybe pour on a couple larger pieces. Just adding a touch of silver in there and mixing it in. And in some places you can still see the silver, and some places the blue takes over. I'm just going to add a little bit of the color shift. That way when you look at it from different directions, you get kind of that vibe. And then I've got a few spots I need to touch up where my hands were. And I think that's pretty decent for the first feather. The other ones will be a little easier to hold because I'll have the stems I can hold them from. And I've already cleaned up the edges with the scissors as best I could. So they won't be perfect, but they'll be pretty good. I'm going to make sure the sides are covered also, because those are going to be very visible when it's on a piece, because they're going to be raised. I have also seen some people that put these on the piece and then paint. And I'm sure that works well also. But if I get it on there and I get it painted wrong, I can't really clean it off or anything like that, you know? So I kind of want to do what I want and then go from there. And all of my feathers don't have to exactly match. I'm blending the blues in different ways, in different orders. So some will be a little darker than others. I'm fine either way. See if I can get this stem done. And then there will be spots that I have to go back over when they start to dry. I'm going to set these down out of the way so I can just pick them up one at a time. The only thing that I didn't like about the bubbles that we made is that they're not clear. They're white, or like an off-white, and I was kind of hoping they would be clear so you could see the painting below it, through it. But that hot glue didn't dry clear. I'm wondering if it's maybe the glue sticks that I bought, because they look off-white. So I may go back and look for some more glue sticks and look for some that look pretty clear, or something that says dries clear, and try it that way. The other good thing about these is, even though they come from a mold, no two really turn out alike, unless you're just a perfectionist and you're going to make sure that you get the glue all the way in every single crevice. For me, that's not what happened. I had several crevices that didn't have glue in them. And so the feathers turned out, stems turned out differently. Just everything ended up being different on each of them. And it also helps that the mold had 4 different feathers. So different directions and patterns, and just gives it that much more diversity. So there's 4 of my beautiful feathers, and they're all different kind of patterns of blue. I'm going to move that to the side. I'm going to clean this off. I'm going to want to say that I think the back one is almost completely dry. So we're going to work on it, because that was the main focus of this video. I was just doing the feathers to buy some extra time. And we're going to go back to this. Okay. So we're going to move the blue palette back there, move this palette back up. And we're going to have some fun with it. So. On some spots we're going to do it a little lighter. Try not to get in the crevices, which is hard to do. The paint tends to want to go into them more than what you want. Using a few different brushed golds over it. I'm going to take some of this antique copper and go over a couple. Rose gold. I'm going to take a bit of that gold and a bit of that gold and just kind of mix it. For a few of these just smaller pieces in here. It's starting to come to life. I'm adding a little bit of rose gold to the gold. I think I really like that, except I think maybe this plain rose gold one down here is just a little too much rose gold. So I'm going to take some antique copper and some rose gold and kind of mix the two. See if maybe that darkens it up just a tad. See if I can just brush it here and there. Okay. How does that look, guys? I think I like it a lot. I think I may take a little bit of black after this fully dries and just brush over it real fast and then just wipe through it with a wet one just to give it a little bit more texture, but I think that's pretty good. I think I actually really like that one. So I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to finish painting the feathers, and then we'll come back when we embellish a piece.